This is Mile High.
Do I want to tell the story or do I want to show the message?
You've got a lot of work to do between Mile High.
The time has come where we can know
we have a responsibility, an ethical and moral responsibility.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought. Because love is my first technique.
It's now time for the show.
Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, coming to you at an altitude of 5,280 feet, Mile High territory. And I am super thrilled, one, because we're recording this the weekend before Mile High. However, you're going to be listening to it the week after Mile High. And we're catching up today on this podcast with DC2B, Sara Parsons, who is our student ticket winner. And I know she is going to light up the stage at Mile High this year. And I watch for all her posts and pictures after, and watch for the future in chiropractic. To give a little background on Sara, she played D1 softball, which is impressive. My daughter was a softball player, so that's good. And she's a Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience. She's a student at Life West. She played USA Rugby for many years and found her way into the world of chiropractic. And she just really impressed us with her submission to be speaking at Mile High. Actually, not our team, our whole team had voted you on. So very excited to have you. Thank you for being on the podcast, Sara.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Danny. I'm super excited to be on the podcast, even more excited to be speaking at Mile High. And I just can't thank you and the Mile High team enough for the opportunities that are coming out of this. So
well, we're going to have fun, and you're going to have fun at Mile High. And I will say this, really, truly, it's fun to be able to talk to a student who's as passionate about chiropractic as you are. It helps the listeners, who are a lot of DCs, reignite their passion. So believe me, it's an honor to have you on the podcast. It's going to be an honor to have you on stage. And it has to be interesting because Life West is starting to have a dynasty going with winning the Mile High speaking contest. It's a couple of years in a row now. So some other schools are going to have to pick up the game. So how did you find, first of all, let's let people get to know you. How did you find your way into the chiropractic world?
Yeah, so it's kind of a fun story. We'll start way back in junior high. I was having some low back pain. My mom took me to a chiropractor, got yanked and cranked on, and swore off chiropractic. I was never going to go back. It was not something I was interested in. Fast forward 2015, I ended my softball career and picked up rugby. Kind of moved all over the nation, chasing this new rugby dream. And I was living in Austin. I actually drove to Denver, packed up all my stuff in my car, drove to Denver for a USA Rugby camp. Did the camp. It was like 3 to 5 days. And then after that, I drove across to Arlington, Virginia, where I had an opportunity to play for a team out there. And when I got there, I had no money. I was very strapped for cash, and we had a team chiropractor, and their office happened to be in need of a front desk staff. So beggars can't be choosers. Like, well, I really have no interest in chiropractic, but I need to make some money. So I accepted the job at Arlington Pain and Rehab. I cannot thank them enough for opening my eyes, because the first month I was front desk, and then they trained me to be a CA shortly after. And I got to see people come into the office in pain, in just not having a good day. I got yelled at all the time. I'm sure other CAs can relate. But then people would go in to see the doctor, come out of the office, and be completely changed. Like, flipped 180, new person. Like, I thought I should re-ask them their name and reintroduce myself, because it's crazy how different they came out, and so happy and excited. And that's where I fell in love with chiropractic and got into it. And I was still in the middle of my USA Rugby career, kind of finished it out in San Diego, It's funny because when I was in college, in undergrad, Life West, the rugby team at Life West had just started, and they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to go play. And of course, at that point, I didn't want to be a chiropractor, so I was like, nah, turned it down. Well, I got to San Diego and started, like, towards the end of my rugby days, I wanted to retire. But then there was this Life West, and I wanted to be a chiropractor, and they had a rugby team. So I reached back out and was like, hey, is that offer still on the table from 3 years ago? Yeah, sure, come out. So that's how I wound up at Life West, playing rugby out there and just learning everything I can about chiropractic.
Well, I got it. First of all, that's amazing. So do you currently still play rugby, or is that past?
I do. Yeah.
You do? Okay, cool.
Yeah, well, we're not playing right now, but
you play for Life West. Okay, got that. Awesome. So I got to tell you why I'm laughing, because what you described about the people coming in and coming out. Now, I don't think it's a secret that starting a business can be challenging, and chiropractic is included in that, starting a business and going into practice. And I remember my first few months in practice, get with all the energy to get going. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was doing front desk for me, and I was struggling with it, getting the practice off the ground experience. And she said to me something that I will never forget. She said to me, Danny, what you are not seeing is how distressed and beat down and unhappy people are when they come in. And when they leave, I'm sitting at the desk, I see them come in and come out, and they're smiling and happy. And she's like, it's amazing. And she's like, you don't see that change. But like, and I've had our CA team, I like to call them chiropractic professionals, I like to call them CPs. They're the chiropractic professionals. I hear them say that all the time. So it's one of the real gifts of being, on a chiropractic team, is seeing that transformation.
yeah, totally. I just got the chills when you said that.
Well, good. And I forgot to say something, which is that also you are the president of TikTokers at Life.
Yeah.
Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so TikTokers is the way that we run it at school at Life West is we meet once a week. It's a club. We provide a space for people to come and give a 5 to 10 minute talk. We encourage people to talk about chiropractic, to kind of practice that for when they go out and open their own business or go work for someone, really getting used to talking to patients, or if they need to practice for clinic, anything like that. But we also open it up to people just to talk about whatever they want, because, speaking is super terrifying. And we get a lot of new people who have never spoken before. So in order to kind of make it safe and fun, we're like, don't worry about talking about chiropractic right off the bat. Get in, tell us your story, tell us a funny joke, like just get up there and get speaking, because we found that that's breaking down that fear to get in front of people and speak only makes it easier for people to talk about chiropractic when the time is right. So that's basically what we do. And then we host the Talk the Tick competition at Life West, and then whoever wins that, we kind of send them to the bigger competition where all the other schools are joining. And
Excellent. So
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
So exciting, and I cannot agree on more. Public speaking is one of the most important skill sets anybody can get, especially a chiropractor. Again,
totally.
I used to speak on campus as a student. My wife and I used to go to Toastmasters back in the day, and local Toastmasters, to learn how to public speak back when we were at Sherman. So it's vital. And I highly recommend anybody who's a student listen to this to do that in whatever capacity you can relative to whether it was on campus or off campus. You have to learn how to do that. So what spurred you to decide to enter to be able to speak at Mile High?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Like I said, speaking is terrifying, and I'm actually terrified of speaking. So I've just been challenging myself since I started the program at Life West. My first quarter, I gave a speech at TikTokers, which is kind of how I got into taking over as president. And I've just been looking for more and more speaking opportunities as I go along, and anything that comes my way, I have made a promise to myself that I'm just going to say yes. And so you posted the competition on Facebook, And first, Dr. Tayal, Anchor Tayal,
Yeah.
he's one of my, I would say one of my mentors at school. I go to him for a lot of things. He tagged me in it and kind of challenged me to enter. And so I was like, oh, I can't let him down. And also I promised myself I'd say yes. So I guess we're doing this. And then you posted it again a couple weeks later, and Dr. Monique Andrews tagged me again. And I was like, oh, it's two of like my favorite professors. Okay, I got to do it.
Once the universe shows something twice to you, you know you have to do it.
Yeah. I didn't want to wait around for the third time. So.
Cool. Awesome. And one of the things that we appreciated, the team appreciated about you was your passion about the philosophy. Obviously, Mile High, our focus is chiropractic congruent with subluxation oriented, adjustment oriented, focused practice, and our principles and foundational values. What excites you about chiropractic philosophy?
Oh my gosh, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having that student competition because it's just opened the door for me, and I think it's such a cool thing that you guys do that I don't know if anyone else does it, but so thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then to answer your question, the thing that I had to take a moment to calm down because I get so excited. The thing that excites me the most is that there are so many people that think similarly in our society today, and they don't know that chiropractic philosophy is your body has the power to heal itself. Universal intelligence, like quantum physics, all of these things, that there's all these pieces floating around in our society today that if we can connect all the dots, we'll just open the floodgates for chiropractic and for people to receive chiropractic care. Like that's the coolest thing, is I think once people understand what chiropractic truly is and the power behind it and the power of people, when people understand the power of their own bodies, I think it's just, I think you guys say it a lot, it's just going to elevate just the human experience. That's
I've got to tell you, you remind me of me. and I say that because when I was in undergrad and learning about chiropractic, I was like, this is not what I thought chiropractic was about. I was like, why don't people tell everybody this? Because this is what I already know to be true and what I value and believe in. Like it just completely felt in alignment. And instead of whatever I thought, or that, whatever I thought outside of the vision of as a lay person and someone who didn't know about it, my pre-thought. And once I was like, this is if we led with our truth, it would be a completely different experience for the profession as a whole, as compared to, we tell them something else that we're not, and then try to backdoor them into the principle, which it hasn't really worked for us for a while. So
yeah. Can I ask you, do you explain the chiropractic philosophy to your patients, like using the terminology we use, like innate intelligence?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of our associate doctor, who Dr. Patrick Martins, he's teaching our advanced spinal care class. He has a test he's got to give people that goes over that they get these questions and they've got to answer the questions in response. We actually test them on it.
You test your patient, your practice members. You test them.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, but because they have to know why they're there. So there you go.
Yeah, I love it. You got to understand the why.
Yeah. Otherwise, if there's no why, there's no comply. Otherwise, I think you're something else. As my philosophy instructor told me, David Koch, like if we don't, without the philosophy, we're just a glorified physical therapist. Yep, there you go. That's who I took philosophy with.
This was the first philosophy book I ever had. He handed it to me personally. The first chiropractic conference I went to, he was there.
Oh, yeah.
His books, and I was just, you should have seen me because I didn't understand what chiropractic was. I was way like musculoskeletal, biomechanics, and then I went to I went to this conference, and I was just like, what have I done?
It's not athletic injuries. There's something more, right? So I get it. And so your favorite quote, you sent me this: heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but while their companions slept. They were toiling upward in the night. And Henry Longfellow. Why do you like that quote?
It comes back to how I was raised. Grew up in Fallon, Nevada. It's a really small town outside of Reno.
Mm-hmm.
I call it a cow town because there's just a lot of dairies out there, and it's really blue collar. My family's pretty blue collar, and I grew up playing sports. And what I took from sports is you get out what you put in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that quote to me, it kind of shows that, like, if you wanna reach a goal, or if you wanna change the world, or like, if something is that important to you, you're gonna stay up. You're gonna work on it more than anyone else. Like,
Yep.
It comes down to the hard work and putting in the time, and kind of just loving something enough to stay up late into the night or get up early to work on it, or just like having that passion that keeps you going while other people will put in 8 hours a day and then go do something else in the evening.
Yep. I love it.
Maybe even get 8 hours of sleep a night. I don't remember the last time I did that, but
what you're saying is one of the key aspects of succeeding in anything, including chiropractic. And we also share something else in common. Mile High is new to you, right? You haven't been there yet, and well, when people hear this, you'll have been at Mile High by the time you hear this recording. However, one of the things about Mile High is really we bring together people in various camps. One of the things we see so much in chiropractic is there's people in different camps and they don't talk to each other. And we really strive to create this community of unity within our diversity, as long as the foundational principles are what you strive to focus on, even if you don't strive to do it perfectly, but that's where your heart and soul is, and you want to do closer and closer to the principle. We bring that together, whatever different technique camps, different marketing, practice management groups, etc. Because I personally feel, and one of the things that impacts us is our infighting over all that, especially even within the quote unquote straight camp. And one of the things you told me is how much you love the kindness and the love, and that's such an amazing thing about our profession. Yet there's also so much struggle inside. What can you share about that?
Yeah, so from my perspective as a student going through my chiropractic education,
Right.
One of my pet peeves is when people complain and they don't come up with a solution, or they don't present something to solve what they're complaining about.
I know what you mean.
So there's kind of like this undertone of complaining about the other camps and how they think. And I think that when we do that, we definitely do that to the medical profession, and I also don't like that, but I'll keep it like within the kind of infighting in our profession for now. Maybe we can get into that later, but I think when you do that, you set yourself up, you block yourself off from even understanding what the other people are talking about. You automatically assume they're wrong. And so what I would like to see is us to have communication throughout those camps, like what you just said about what your goals for Mile High is, bringing people from all camps together. And it's such a, I already feel that it's just such a passionate, exciting, energetic environment that will open people up to talking about our differences. I mean, we're always going to have differences. That's what diversity is about. And if we can talk about that diversity, we can come up with the best possible, most efficient, philosophically based way to serve humanity.
Yeah.
I think that it can only help us grow.
Right, right. Well, if we're going to be on the same team, we have to be on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of being on the same team, but really not being on the same team, being on different teams within a team. That creates a challenge.
People outside of our profession can feel that. That's one thing that frustrates me also is
Oh, absolutely.
the perspective that we're giving everyone else. We have to come off united if we want to talk about being accepted as a norm.
Right.
And increasing that 8 to 10% of people we see to the critical point.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know, I'm very passionate about that end, and that's why myself and my wife put so much energy, effort, love, compassion, energy, you know, into Mile High, is to create that kind of home in the center of the country, and hopefully that expand outward.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's such a good visual.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure I'll talk about that somewhat at Mile High too. So now I'm wondering if you have any idea yet what you're going to be sharing at Mile High.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah. I don't want to give it
A
away.
little sneak peek without too much.
Yeah, maybe a little sneak peek. So I'm a total nerd, if you haven't picked up on that yet. And I love science. And it'll probably go along the theme of this idea of revolution that we've been speaking about.
Love it. Love it.
Do you need more? Is that enough?
No, that's good. You know, I am always down for a revolution.
Great.
Yes. That's kind of been my hallmark. So so it sounds good. Well, you know, and with being a student at Life West, how far along do you have to go?
Just over a year. I'm in my 8th out of 12 quarters.
Okay.
So,
and do you have a vision yet of what's ahead of you?
Oh, so many. That's my problem, is I have too many things that I want to do. And I kind of just leave it to the universe to put it all together for me, which has worked most of my life. But right now, and it changes weekly, so by the time people listen to this, it'll probably change. Right now, what I want to do is, I love serving people, and I love chiropractic, and I love the human interaction that we get to, that the bonds that we get to create, and just taking care of people and watching them grow is amazing. So I definitely want to focus on that for half of my career. And then the other half is more like this. I love educating, and I want people to know about the power of chiropractic and the power of their own bodies so much that I have a feeling that I am just like, I want to be really active in my community, and then I want to also continue to speak at events, chiropractic events, outside events, different other professional events. I really just want to be kind of active. I don't like politics, but I see that it's very important, especially right now in our profession. So I'm the vice president of Ifco at the Life West chapter. So I'm getting into that a little bit and trying to figure out what to do.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because, I've been a member of the IFCO, used to be the FSCO, and since I was in chiropractic school. And I saw that you had an IFCO shirt, so I was going to say, you must be a fan if you're wearing the shirt. So
yeah, I had to pop it on today.
Can you say anything about why you were attracted to the IFCO?
Yeah, I really liked, actually, to be honest, I didn't know what the IFCO was when I signed up. So fortunately, I really align with what they're doing. I like that they're philosophically based, and it's all about vitalistic chiropractic. That's huge. And I appreciate their goals of being active in policy changes.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking out against things that will be harmful to our profession, like not being able to take x-rays. That's insane.
Right.
So I think that the other camp, the evidence-based chiropractic, they're very active in policy changes. And the vitalistic side, from my perspective, has not been as active. It's very spoken out, but we're not taking those steps to create those policy changes or to make sure that the policies that are beneficial for vitalistic chiropractic stay in place.
No,
so that's what I like about that.
The vitalistic side of the profession has been asleep at the wheel for too long.
Yeah, and we're just allowing evidence-based. I hate that evidence-based because vitalistic chiropractic is evidence-based.
Of course.
Yeah, but yeah, we're allowing them to kind of take the wheel, and I think that IFCO is trying to change that. So.
Yep. Well, good. And another reason why we're excited to have you on stage is for people that are in alignment with, the values of the foundational principles for our profession, and also show up and are active in things. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's great. Well, I will tell you, most likely, and when people are watching this and listening to it, I'm going to be like, wow, Sara Parsons was awesome. She rocked it. Okay.
So.
and when the podcast posts, I'll put the picture underneath of you on stage and how awesome it was.
Yeah. Hopefully we're doing something crazy like pointing.
and thank you so much for taking the time to get out to Mile High, and for everybody joining us. And also dial in being at Mile High 2021. This is our annual event place to come together, all different camps, but everybody's focused on our foundational principles. If you love the values of chiropractic and want those centered in your life and practice, then Mile High is for you. We look forward to seeing you at Mile High 2021.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Dr.
everyone.
Sara.
Thanks, Dr.
I said
Danny.
Dr. Sara. Thank you, Sara.
Almost, not quite.
Almost. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Mile High podcast. Keep changing spines and lives and minds with chiropractic.